The episode kicks off with Yuna staring at the system window, eyes locked on his hidden skill list. His ultimate ability, Mirror World, had finally reached level 3. A smirk crossed his face. It was time to test it. As he activated the skill, the system's mechanical voice echoed in his ears, setting up secret area. In the blink of an eye, the world around him twisted, and Yuna found himself standing inside a strange new dimension. Before him appeared ghostly copies of monsters, each one terrifyingly powerful, some even above level 45. That's when he realized what had changed. Level 3 Mirror World could now copy monsters from real-world dungeons, meaning he could battle them here, train freely, and grow stronger without anyone ever finding out. Summoning his undead army, Yuna launched into battle. After hours of training, he finally exited the dimension, returning to reality. But notifications began flooding his vision. XP gains, one after another. That's when it hit him. His undead soldiers were still fighting inside the mirror world, earning experience for him even while he was gone. Standing beside the spirit of his old friend, Chawen, Yuna gazed down from a cliff. Below them lay a massive castle city, built right inside the dungeon. The sight stunned him. A hidden civilization this deep underground? He decided to investigate. As they made their way through the dense forest, Yuna recalled the information he'd found in the Ding family diary. This city, it had to be where his target, Ding Kun, lived. He didn't know much about the so-called hero, only that Ding Kun became an S-class decades ago and then vanished from the public eye. Even top family members like Ding Gai knew nothing of his true power. But that mystery only made Yuna more determined. He remembered every S-class being from his past life, yet Ding Kun's name had appeared out of nowhere. Something didn't add up. Turning to the spectral form of his companion, he called softly, "Ben, do you know who Ding Kun is?" The undead spirit tilted its head silently. No answer. Yuna sighed. Even after upgrading Mirror World, even with his undead gaining more intelligence, his friend's soul was still not fully back, still trapped, still broken. He stared at the vast city again, whispering to himself, maybe if he kept leveling up, Ben's consciousness would return someday. Meanwhile, deep within that grand castle, a man named Ding Dan hurried down a long staircase. He bowed before his father, a figure sitting upon a dark throne, clad in heavy armor. This was Ding Kun, the legendary hero of the Empire. Ding Dan anxiously reported that his third brother, Ding Gai, was missing. He warned that the enemy who dared capture him was no ordinary man, possibly another S-class. He begged his father to act personally. But Ding Kun didn't respond with words. In one horrifying instant, his armored hand transformed into a shadowed claw, and he drove it straight through his own son's chest. Blood splattered across the marble floor. Ding Dan's eyes widened in disbelief as his father's cold voice echoed through the hall. "How dare an incompetent fool who can't even guard his own child tell me what to do?" The hero looked down on his dying son, disgust twisting his face. "You barely qualified as S-class, yet can't even take one hit from me. Pathetic." He continued, voice icy and cruel. The only reason he'd kept Ding Dan alive was to protect Ding Gai. But now, having failed even that, his existence was worthless. Ding Kun's tone darkened further as he revealed a terrible secret. Losing Ding Gai meant losing a blood relative. and that loss would cost him years of his own life. Outside the castle, chaos ruled the streets. A cruel young man with slicked-back blonde hair, Ding Yan, laughed maniacally while sitting on the back of a beaten man, using him as a living throne. Starving citizens fought over scraps of food, while hungry wolves tore into them. Ding Yan mocked them all, yelling that whoever didn't eat fast enough would lose their share. Behind him stood a tall enforcer, a level 60 warrior named Nani. He bowed and called him young master, then smirked, suggesting that Ding Yan's pet, the man he sat on, hadn't eaten meat in days. His tone hinted at something sinister. From a distance, Yuna and the spirit of Ben watched the horror unfold. Yuna's expression darkened. Compared to this, the other branch of the Ding family he had destroyed seemed almost innocent. Rage began to boil inside him, his purple aura flickering dangerously. But before he could act, something powerful erupted beside him. The undead spirit of Ben released a surge of blue and black energy, roaring in fury at the injustice. Yuna looked at him with sadness. Even in this half-conscious state, Ben's instinct to protect the weak was still there. That sight brought back memories of when they were just kids in the slums. Ben and another boy, Lan Chen, had always stood up for others, even risking their lives to fight cruel slave masters. It was their courage that made Yuna train them as disciples. The flashback faded, leaving only guilt. Yuna blamed himself for his friend's current undead fate. Suddenly, the spirit turned toward him and for the first time managed to speak. A broken whisper escaped. Lan Chen. Yuna froze. Shock flooded his face. His friend was regaining fragments of his mind. He grabbed the spirit's shoulders. Ben, can you hear me? Is it really you? The ghost trembled, forcing out one more word. Ding. Then an explosion of blue energy shook the ground. Through sheer will, the spirit managed to utter the horrifying truth. Lan Chen is Ding Kun. The revelation hit Yuna like lightning. His eyes widened. His old disciple was the very monster he sought to destroy. Meanwhile, back in the throne room, Ding Kun stood over his son's lifeless body. Wiping the blood from his gauntlet, he muttered one name under his breath, Yun. His shadowed form twisted with fury. A dark smile crept across his face. So, someone dares to use that name again, after all these years? He looked up with cold amusement, speaking to the memory of his old master. Let's see who dares pretend to be you, my dear master. On the blood-soaked streets of the city, Ding Yan laughs like a madman. Surrounded by chaos, he sneers at his massive orc-like pets, mocking them for being so well-behaved. His tone drips with insanity as he points at the terrified citizens scattered across the plaza. A small child sobs beside the body of his fallen father, too scared to move. Ding Yan's eyes glow with madness. He spreads his arms wide and screams, "They're just toys! Go ahead! Eat them all!" The orcs roar in response and charge toward the helpless child. But before the monster's claws can strike, a blinding flash of purple light splits the air. In a single heartbeat, the orc is shredded to pieces, sliced apart by countless invisible blades. Yun lands smoothly, his back to the carnage, his entire body crackling with purple energy. His eyes glow like lightning, pure fury burning within. He whispers the name Lan Chen under his breath, disbelief flooding his mind. How could his own student become this monster? The enforcer, Nani, steps forward, glaring. "Who the hell are you?" he demands. Ding Yan stares in shock, then smirks. Nani bursts out laughing, mocking Yun for daring to walk into the hero's territory to die. But Yun doesn't even hear them. His mind is lost in rage, his purple flames flaring hotter. He can't believe that the same Lan Chen he once taught could raise such a disgusting, twisted person like Ding Yan. That anger brings back an old memory, a flashback to a simpler time. A younger Yun stands proudly before two students, Lan Chen and Xiao Benben. He tells them that the old age of knights has ended, replaced by the world of class users. But he still believes in the knight's values: humility, compassion, and courage. He promises to teach them strength beyond ordinary class users, strength with honor. Young Lan Chen looks up at him with admiration, eyes filled with hope. The flashback deepens, Yun teaching his first principle, humility. Lan Chen and Ben work together in a field harvesting crops. Lan Chen brags that he's faster, teasing his friend. Yun scolds them gently, reminding them that true warriors never look down on others. They must treat everyone with kindness and respect. Later, when they're paid by an old farmer, Ben complains that the pay is unfair. The calmer Lan Chen tries to stop him, but Yun silences them both with a firm voice. Humility first, pride later. He rewards them with a book, telling them to remember the joy of honest work, not arrogance. Back in the present, that same humble teacher now stands as a furious god of war. Yun unleashes a storm of purple slashes, his sword tearing through the air. The attack smashes through Nani's arcane shield, a legendary grade defense shattered in one strike. The enforcer staggers back, stunned, shouting that his armor and necklace were legendary-level gear, yet they're already destroyed. Behind him, Ding Yan snarls in anger, calling Yun a filthy commoner, and boasting that he'll show him what true power looks like. Unfazed, Yun rushes forward. Another flashback hits, the second principle, compassion. Yun and his students once helped a starving man in a ruined city, feeding him with what little they had. He told them that kindness is the truest strength, that real warriors use their power to protect, not destroy. The memory fades into a scene of the two boys fighting off bandits, courage blazing in their eyes. Back to the battle, Yun swings his glowing sword in a massive arc. The blade cuts through Ding Yan and Nani, but they dissolve into black smoke, illusions. Dozens of fake copies appear across the plaza, surrounding him on all sides. Ding Yan laughs cruelly, leaning on his enforcer's shoulder. "Come on, slash more of us if you like it that much," he taunts. Yun stands still, calm amid the chaos. Ding Yan keeps provoking him, asking if his anger is for these helpless people, or maybe because one of them is his family. He dares him to attack again, hoping he'll accidentally kill the real citizens among the illusions. But Yun's eyes blaze brighter. Through his mirror world skill, he can see both realities, the real and the reflected. He sees the terrified people and the true positions of his enemies. He tightens his grip, his blade humming with purple energy. Then he vanishes. A heartbeat later, his sword cleaves through the real Ding Yan and Nani, breaking their illusion completely. Their faces twist in disbelief. They can't understand how he saw through their magic. A final flashback cuts in. The third principle, courage. A young Lan Chen and Ben stand together surrounded by monsters, wounded but unyielding. Yun's voice echoes. A true knight feels fear, but never runs from it. Fight for what's right. In the present, Ding Yan's arrogance shatters. He panics, screaming at his enforcer. "Block him! Buy me time!" he yells, running like a coward. "If I die, my grandfather will kill you!" Left behind, Nani desperately tries to cast a spell. Human delusion swamp. But before he can finish, Yun disappears again. A split second later, slash! Nani's body falls lifeless, cut clean in half. Yun doesn't even blink. The man begs for his life, claiming he's just a hired mercenary, not part of the Ding family. But Yun ends him silently. Meanwhile, Ding Yan runs for his life, only to be stopped by a towering, ghostly figure. The undead spirit of Xiao Ben Ben blocks his escape. Terrified, Ding Yan screams, "I'm the hero's grandson! If you touch me, I'll destroy your whole family!" But before he can finish, Yun appears behind him. A massive, shadowy beast rises from the ground, summoned by Yun's power. Ding Yan's system window pops open. All his equipment, skill books, and items are ripped straight out of his inventory. He screams in panic, "What did you do to me?" Yun's expression doesn't change. His eighth and final principle echoes in his mind. Soul. The creature unleashes a storm of dark blue energy blades, raining destruction across the plaza. When the dust clears, Ding Yan lies dead. Yun stands on a bridge overlooking the ruined city. Bodies impaled on spikes line the streets below. He stares in silence, thinking of his fallen student, Lan Chen, now Ding Kun, and the unforgivable evil his family has caused. His sorrow twists into rage. Why? Why did it have to come to this? Then a voice, cold and mocking, answers from behind. What why? Before Yun can move, a devastating punch smashes into his back, sending him crashing into the castle wall. The impact explodes in dust and debris. Buried in rubble, Yun groans, healing himself quickly with multiple spells. His new legendary equipment glows: the spider pearl necklace, distant roar robe, nether serpent pants, nether cave belt, and the nether pottery boots. His sword hums with deadly purple energy. Bloodied but unbroken, he rises to his feet, eyes locked on the monster who was once his student. Across the battlefield, the system identifies the enemy, level 71 S-class berserker, Lan Chen, also known as Ding Kun. Yun takes a deep breath. Then he hurls a volley of mirror shards across the air. Ding Kun blocks them easily, scoffing, "Mirrors? Is that all?" But it's a trap. The shards shimmer, and Yun instantly teleports behind him. His sword glows brighter than ever, powered by rage, betrayal, and pain. With a roar that shakes the dungeon itself, Yun swings down with everything he has, screaming the question that's haunted him for decades. Why did you betray me?
Yun's surprise strike lands hard. The impact is brutal. A chunk of Dingkun's armor flies off and crashes to the ground. Dingkun touches the dented helmet and grins, impressed. Whoever this guy is, his speed and power are way above normal. Yun's eyes burn, bright purple, overflowing with rage and sorrow. He clenches his fist and screams the name that haunts him, Lan Chen, his former student, the one who betrayed him years ago. His voice cracks, demanding to know why. Lan Chen doesn't care. He scoffs at the word betrayal. A huge pixelated greatsword materializes in his hand, glowing red. In his mind, this must be just another assassin sent by his old enemies, someone pretending to know who he really is. Then he charges, laughing. His sword swings down like a meteor, launching a massive red shockwave across the battlefield. Yun dodges, barely escaping the deadly strike. But the moment his feet touch the ground, Lan Chen appears behind him with a smirk. He mocks the idea that Yun could pretend to be his old master, calling it a pathetic joke. Yun ignores the taunts. He attacks again, screaming for the truth. Why did you betray us? But Lan Chen blocks effortlessly. His smile twists with hatred. To him, Yun is just a tool. Talking? Pointless. He counters. Their weapons collide like thunder. The ground explodes beneath them, forming a crater. Dust swallows the battlefield. Then, a haunting chill. Chawen's undead spirit rises beside Yun, his former friend now resurrected by necromancy. Yun warns Lan Chen through clenched teeth. What are you planning to do about our other friend? Chawen roars Lan Chen's name and rushes in with fury. For a moment, Lan Chen's eyes widen, shock, fear, denial. In a blink, he grabs the spirit by the neck and slams him into the ground. He bellows, "How are you still alive?" He raises his fist to obliterate him, but Chawen summons a golden barrier, only for Lan Chen to smash it with one monstrous punch. That's when Lan Chen realizes the truth. His old friend is now an undead puppet. No emotions, no intelligence, just a weapon. Yun goes for a surprise strike. Lan Chen blocks again. Suddenly, 3 figures appear above on the castle walls, all level 60 elites. One calls out, "Father, why are you here? We could have handled this intruder." Lan Chen snaps at them to get lost. Yun calls his own reinforcements. Nani and Dingge appear as undead warriors to keep the 3 men busy. Lan Chen freezes when he recognizes Dingge, his own nephew, confirmed dead. His face briefly softens with pain, then twists into a wicked smile. Now he's interested. He lunges, his body turning monstrous, claws growing, eyes glowing in madness. He screams, "Master, prove it's really you!" His voice cracks between devotion and insanity. Yun is bloodied, but his gaze is ice cold. He remembers the real Lan Chen, a boy who once helped others, even while suffering as a slave. With his mana draining into his blade, Yun attacks again, purple lightning erupting from his sword. He cries out, desperate, "How did you become like this?" Blocked again. Lan Chen blames everything on Yun, screaming like a beast. Yun grabs him and shouts back, "I saved you from slavery. I gave you strength. Did you forget everything I taught you?" But Lan Chen only laughs, broken, hysterical. That laughter twists into rage. He finally reveals his deepest wound. "Why did you take so long to save me?" His past flashes, beaten, tortured, left waiting for a hero who never came in time. His voice becomes venom. Why did Benben, who lived comfortably, receive equal respect? Why was Benben always stronger? Why did Yun make him a berserker, reckless, unprotected, instead of a guardian knight? He insists it's because Yun always preferred kids with clean pasts. Yun is stunned. He fires back, "You told me you wanted to be braver, stronger." But Lan Chen rejects it completely. He mocks the idea of Yun ever valuing him. He claims Yun always looked down on a former slave like him. That's when Yun breaks. His eyes turn pure fury. He screams, "What about compassion, humility, all the values I taught you?" Lan Chen spits on those ideals. He argues that only power earns respect, and saving people only holds you back from leveling up. Then his betrayal becomes pride. He reveals that Brother Louis promised him status and power far greater than Yun ever gave. He points at Benben's descendants forced into slavery under his Ding family and laughs. He gestures toward a golden statue of Louis, worshipped like a god, and mocks Yun's pathetic state. The final insult? "Who made the better choice, Master?" Yun doesn't answer with words. Purple energy erupts around him, wild, explosive. His face dripping blood, his voice cracking. "You ungrateful bastard!" He summons glowing mirror shards and launches them into the sky. He teleports between them, slicing from every direction. Lan Chen blocks, slashes, screams, but the storm is relentless. His armor fractures, cracks spreading, then shatters completely. Yun lands, trembling with rage. He stares into his hand, then looks at Lan Chen like he's trash. He agrees on one thing. Lan Chen truly can't compare to Chayo Benben. In fact, he isn't even worthy of comparing to a single one of Benben's toes.